I'm gonna love you like I'm gonna lose you. I'm gonna hold you like I'm saying goodbye. Yeah. Tea is good for the soul. Hey guys, how's it going? It's your girl Mackenzie Joy here, coming to you live today. I want to talk about love. Love. But not the kind of love that you're probably thinking. We're not going to talk about romantic relationships. No. We're going to talk about the love of Christ and how to have the love of Christ in you and what that actually looks like and how to show the love of Christ to other people. And I'm gonna be so honest with you guys. I'm human. I don't have it all figured out. I sometimes don't show the love of Christ in the way that I should show it. But I'm gonna talk about something that I have noticed as a pattern, especially in women, that we do that needs to end. And that is that showing the love of Christ to other people doesn't mean you have to sacrifice your own sanity and your own energy and happiness and joy. When you show the love of Christ to other people, it should bring you joy as well. And yes, there's going to be times that you have to do something for someone and it's a little inconvenient, but if it is completely draining you, if it is completely exhausting every emotion that you have to be around someone or to do something constantly for this person who is asking over and over and over again for your help or for your friendship and your assistance, whatever it is, that is not biblical. God calls us to take care of ourselves. It says first love God, then love others, and love yourself. It doesn't say forget about yourself altogether. And women, we have this idea that in order for the world to run smoothly, we have to be upset, we have to be drained, we have to be pushed to our limits, and we don't get to enjoy any of that happiness either, and that's not true. So I took a few notes on my phone today as I was just thinking about this topic, so excuse me as I look down at my phone. Okay, so giving to people should not feel like you're taking from yourself. How many times have you guys been in situations where, and I know that we've all been there, you have that one person in your life, and maybe, I know I said I wasn't going to talk about romantic relationships, but maybe this is a romantic relationship for you. Maybe it is the person that you're with who is constantly taking and never giving to you. And in your head, you think, oh, well, they've been through this and that, and they need me, and they did that one thing in 2002 for me, and I have to pay them back for the rest of my life. No, that's not okay. That's super not okay. That person is taking advantage of you. That person is manipulating you to make you think that you have to be at their beckoning, waking call at all times, and that's not biblical. The Bible tells us literally, like, it's so important to take care of ourselves. Even in Proverbs 31, it talks about how that woman in Proverbs 31 took care of herself. She didn't have a successful, happy family by disregarding her own needs and wants and desires. No, she did what she wanted to do as well, but made sure that the priorities of her family were taken care of as well. So that brings me to my next point. How can we love like Christ loved? And I really am speaking to women in this video, so if there are guys watching this, then take notes because you'll be very successful with your girlfriend. Love languages. Love languages are super important, and everyone has a certain love language. We don't all have the same love language, but I believe that every person has a little bit of every love language, but they have like one or two love languages that are like theirs. So the love languages are words of affirmation, quality time, gifts, physical touch, and acts of service. For me personally, my two love languages, I have two love languages, They are words of affirmation and physical touch. I love to be hugged, and this isn't in like a sexual way, like don't be weird, but like I love when a person gives me a hug, or like I went to Indonesia a couple years ago, and everywhere I went they were holding my hand, like boys, girls, doesn't matter, they held my hand, and it made me feel so loved. It made me feel like wanted. It made me feel like they needed me, they appreciated me. And I love when someone scratches my back or plays with my hair. So if you ever do my hair, like you'll know that I'm just like, oh, like keep playing with it, like super weird. I'm gonna delete that scene. Words of affirmation. I have always been, I think most women are, their love language is words of affirmation. Like what girl doesn't want to be told, you're doing a great job, hey, you look really good today, or I'm really happy that you're in my life, those kind of things. Those are my love languages, and I know that everyone has their own love languages. I also value quality time. I love getting little gifts. I love acts of service, but those two are my favorite. I love being told words of affirmation, and I love a good old-fashioned hug. So what I'm trying to get here is everyone has love languages, and it's really important that you learn the love languages of the people in your life. So for example, I know that my boyfriend's love language is acts of service. If I were to cook him a meal or help him clean out his car or something, I know that would really speak to him. Now, acts of service for me, that's not really, I'll be super happy if you clean my apartment, that'd be great, but like I'd just probably be like, hey, thanks, that was really nice. I wouldn't sit up all night and just be like, oh my gosh, they love me, oh my god, I don't deserve them. I just be appreciative, you know? It's really important that you understand the people in your life's love language, because that's how they're gonna feel the most love. So if you have a girlfriend who, you have a friend, a girlfriend, whatever, in your life that you really want to make them feel the best, maybe your love language is gifts. Well, what if hers isn't gifts? If you keep giving her little gifts because that's what you love, she's never gonna feel fully loved. You have to learn what is her actual love language, and that might be something completely different, and it might be something that you're not super comfortable with doing. Maybe her love language is physical touch and you're not a big hugger. Well, a high five, a pat on the back, a quick little side hug, like those kind of things are going to make her feel really loved by you because you're taking that time to learn her. This also kind of goes into what I was talking about earlier, is when you're in that toxic relationship, if that person that is being toxic to you, whether that's a friend, a sister, a cousin, a relationship, if they are not taking the time to learn your actual love language, then they're not valuing your time. They're not valuing you as a person. They're not valuing how you feel loved, and that is a big red flag in that relationship. So if relationships are only one way, then, and it's not going back and forth between the two people, that's not a healthy relationship. Okay, so we live in a world where like doing things for other people is like kind of unheard of. It's like really sad. But like, when's the last time you like baked cookies for your neighbors, even if you don't know your neighbors? I know I have two examples of when my parents really showed me what loving like Christ was, and that was they both had to go completely out of their comfort zones and do something for a stranger, someone they did not know. So my first example is, I will never ever forget this, and if you've seen my last video, you know my mom passed away when I was 16, and she was just the most incredible, godly woman you could ever imagine. She was also an introvert. A lot of people would describe her as very graceful, not meek, I don't like that word, but just like a little quieter, but in a very beautiful way. She wasn't easily stepped on at all. She had a strong backbone, but she wasn't like me. She wasn't like, hey guys, it's me, Mackenzie, ayo. You know, like, I have a way louder voice. I have big gestures. She was a little more reserved, a little quieter. So for her to go up to a stranger and show the love of Christ, you can imagine it was probably a little more difficult for her because that was very out of her comfort zone. I will never forget when I was really young, me and my mom would take the train from one city to another. My dad had gotten a new job. We were traveling from Kalamazoo to Rochester area, and so we would take the train. And this is like one of those memories where it's just like so vague, but you just like remember it. We were waiting for a train to get there, and a woman was at the ticket booth bawling her eyes out and trying to get a ticket, and we both noticed it. I was probably 5 at this time. Like, I was very young. We both noticed it. My mom noticed. I was like, Mom, like, that girl's crying. I wonder what's wrong. So it turns out she's in the same train as us. And my mom, the wonderful, amazing person that she is, she's like, we need to go sit with that woman. And the woman was still by herself sitting at a table inside of the train, just crying, and we sat with her. Another time that my parents showed me the love of Christ in a way that was maybe a little out of their comfort zone was my dad a couple Christmases ago. So my dad, if you've ever seen him, is this dark Armenian man, and he lives in a town in California, which is also known as like Little India. So it's a lot of Muslim people, a lot of Eastern descent people. So he physically looks the part. He fits in great, but he's the only Christian, and he's a pastor. And Muslims and Christians in history, they have kind of a bad rep with each other, and there's no like animosity between them at all, but just knowing that, and Muslims having that idea of Christians being hateful and mean, and it's sad, but that's true. My dad has shown the love of Christ in the most beautiful way to his community, and that is every Christmas he bakes his entire, it's like a condominium complex, cookies, like good old-fashioned chocolate chip cookies that us Americans love, and he bakes them for his whole little apartment complex, condominium complex, and they absolutely love it. So a couple Christmases ago, him and I just baked away. Like, we made so many cookies, and I was like very uncomfortable with it because I was like, oh my gosh, these people know that we're Christians. They're gonna hate us, like, because of all the terrible Christians out in the world that are mean and judgmental, and we're not like that, but I don't want them to think that we are like that. And he was like, Mackenzie, like you're fine. So literally, we're bringing these cookies over to these people, and they're inviting us in their home, and they're being so sweet, and they're like, we love you, thank you so much for the cookies, oh my gosh. And that small act, like, yeah, it took a while, it took a lot of baking, but it built like community, like serious community with him and his neighbors, and now they trust him. They know that he's a trustworthy person, and it was an act of love, of Christ honoring love. So think about, I have a challenge for you all, is like, think about something that you can do for somebody else, and it might be uncomfortable for you, but it should bring you joy afterwards. That is what loving Christ is like. It might be uncomfortable, it may be a little inconvenient, but it brings you joy afterwards, and it doesn't drain you. It doesn't exhaust you. It doesn't upset you. You don't go home crying. You love serving that person because of the way it makes you feel, because you feel that you have shown the love of Christ to that person. So that is my video for today, is just how to love like Christ loved, and it doesn't mean that you have to suffer. It doesn't mean that you have to have your emotions completely drained. Anyways, guys, I'll see you later. Bye.